Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll be learning about the bound services. So in the previous tutorial we have already learned about a service, and we have already learned two methods for creating a service. One was by the intent service and the next one was by using the service class. Now those service which we have created were the unbound service, and unbound service means that they were unassociated with the application or with the activity. So the thing was that those services which we have created, they were not actually connected to the interface right here. But in this case, in case of bound services, we are going to create a service which is going to get associated with the application. So each of the two services are going to have different fields of application. Now let's say if you want a service to get immediately destroyed when you exit out of application, then you want the bounded services, and that is because the bounded services is basically going to get connected with the activity or the application, and whenever the application exits, the bounded service is going to get destroyed. But in the case of the services which we have created earlier, it had no relation with the application. So basically it was actually related to application, but it is going to continue running even if we exit out of the application. So in this tutorial we are going to learn about bound services, and this and the next tutorial is going to be the last set of tutorials for services, and then we are going to proceed to the new tutorials. And the thing is that services are the most important part of creating an Android application. So whenever you wanted to create a complex application, you will be needing them. So make sure that you have a good understanding of what services are. So let's go ahead and create a simple application for the bound services. So what I have done is that I've created a new application which is called as bound ser, which is called as bound ser, and we are going to create the bound service in this application. So once you have the basic layout with you, you simply go to the text view and delete this thing right here. That is because we won't be needing it. Now switch to the design view, and the first thing which we need to do is that we need to add a text to it, and we need to add a button to it. So we drag this large text right in the center, and we also drag a button to the center. So take a button and drag it right over here. So basically what we are trying to do is that when we click a button, some service gets executed in the background which is going to set the text of this large button, or which is going to set the text of this large text to, let's say, the current time. So once you have this large text as well as the button with you, we simply go and give these things an ID. So we simply select the large text, go into ID, and let's name it as my text. And also we'll do the same with the button. So we simply select button, go to ID and give it an ID of my button. So once we have these things in place, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to create a service. So to create a service is basically a Java class, so you need to place it in the Java folder. So go to the folder which contains the main activity, right click on the folder, go to new, select a service, and let's name it as, let's give it a default name which is my service. Hit finish, and it is going to load up a new class for us, which is basically nothing but a service. So now if you remember from the previous tutorial, we had this iBinder thing over here, and as we are not creating a bound service, we deleted the code inside it. But now in this case we are going to make use of this iBinder. So the first thing which we need to do is that we need to go ahead and create a binder. So we type private final iBinder, and let's name this iBinder as my binder equals new, let's say my local binder. And my local binder is going to be a method which we have not yet created, and this B should be in capitals, and that is because it is going to get imported from the android.os, and the proper spelling for it is I and B in capitals. So make sure that you have spelled it correctly. Now once we are done with this, we need to make this method right here, and that is because it is going to show us an error if we don't make it. So we simply go right here and we create the method. So we type public class, and let's name this thing as my local binder, the name which we have used here. So we type my local binder, and this extends the binder, so we type extends binder. So as soon as we create this class right here, the error is going to get removed. So once this is done, we go inside the my binder or the my local binder class and we create a service. So we type my service get service. So inside the get service, we are basically going to return the value which is the my service dot this. So we type return my service dot this. So basically, whenever you are creating a binder or whenever you are creating a bound service, the first thing which you'll need to do is that we'll need to connect it with the service. So in order to connect it, the first thing which we need to do is that we have created a class which is called as the my local binder, and inside the my local binder we have this service right here, and we have named the service as get service, and then finally we have used the return statement to return the my service. So this is a basic code, or this is the basic structure which we use to create a bound service. So now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to switch to this I binder, and this is basically a binder. So we simply delete everything in this and we simply return the my binder. So we type return my binder. So now once this is done, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to create a method which is going to be used in order to set this text to the current time. So we go inside this class, let's say we go in here, and then we type in the code which we want to use in order to calculate the current time. So we type public string get current time, and in order to calculate the current time, we create the object of the simple date format. So we type simple date format, and let's name it as df, and this is equal to new simple date format, and to this we pass in the parameters. So first is going to be the format in which we want to get the time. So we type HH, which is hours, minutes and seconds, then we give a comma, and then we specify the time zone. So let's say we type local dot US. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we simply need to return the time. So we type return, and the thing which we return is the date format. So we type df dot format, and then finally we return new date. So once this is done, we are pretty much done with the first part for creating our bound service, and I think this is going to show you an error. That is because this should be date, and also you need to import the date. So we simply import it by pressing Alt and enter, and we need to import it from either of the two classes. So we simply select this java.util.date, and once you have imported the date, your error will be gone. So we are done with the first part of our tutorial, and in the next part of our tutorial we will be continuing how we could create a bound service. So that's it for this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.